Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we have my colleague Danielle Huidekoper in Vail Valley. She is our Vail Valley expert here with Live Sotheby's International Realty. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of living here in Vail. I myself live over in Summit County, as you guys know, and it's just a 30-minute drive from me. So it's one of my favorite places to staycation. And I know a little bit, but if you want true guidance from an expert, Danielle is our go-to. So we're just going to kind of talk about what Vail has to offer for you guys. So Danielle, tell us a little bit about yourself. What was your experience like moving from wherever you moved from and how it's going for you?
Sure. Yeah. So I moved to Vail part-time 2011, 2012, and then full-time 2013 from Florida. You know, the beginning, definitely finding your footing, like moving anywhere was a little challenging, but I quickly found my people and then later found real estate and a great community to live in. So that's been amazing. I don't live in Vail proper. I live in Eagle Vail, not to be confused with Eagle or Vail, but Eagle Vail is about 10 minutes west of Vail proper. I love Eagle Vail because I'm 10 minutes from Beaver Creek and I'm 10 minutes from Vail with a ton of locals, great trails on the golf course, and a mix of second home as well.
That's interesting. I guess tell me what your favorite thing about living in Vail is, because you've been here for quite a while, right? So I guess what's your favorite thing? I know you moved for the summers, but since living here, has there been one thing that's kind of stand out above the rest?
I think just being able to find people to do anything with. So if you want to go for a hike or a bike ride or ski or go skinning or go to a nice restaurant, I mean, there's so many different people here that you can really find someone to do most things with, which is great.
Oh, that's awesome. So I guess that would be our first pro, right? Now, I want to be transparent with you guys. You know, that's how I come across in all my videos. So I want to know, because it is kind of like paradise here, but there are trade-offs, right? So what would be like one of your first cons, or I guess the biggest standout con to living here in the Valley?
Probably how expensive everything is. So, you know, restaurants are expensive. Real estate is obviously expensive. Finding a rental is not only expensive, but there aren't many options. Shopping here, I don't even shop really because it's so expensive. So the cost of living is quite high. But on the other hand, a lot of things we can do are essentially free. So going hiking, once you buy your bike, biking is free. Once you buy your ski pass, you know, going skiing is not very expensive once you have the gear. So maybe balances out, maybe not.
Okay, yeah, sure, definitely. So you talk about the like adventure and all the free things that you can do. What's your favorite free thing to do? Is it the skiing in Vail? Because, you know, Vail has over 5,000 acres of skiable terrain. Is it the biking in the summertime? Is it the golf? Like, what's your favorite activity to do?
You know, right now I would say biking because we're at the tail end of biking season, but I love skiing and I love what skiing brings to the community. So you can go for 2 runs, you can go for a full day, go to the back bowls, do a couple runs at Beaver Creek, ski with clients, ski with friends. So I just love the ski culture.
So I've got a little brief here, and basically what I'm seeing, one of the biggest pros, very similar to living in Summit County, is the stunning natural beauty that Vail has to offer. Can you speak to that just a little bit? Like,
yeah.
You have more experience than I do.
Absolutely. So we have several national forest access points in the valley. So, I mean, there are hundreds of miles of hiking trails, biking trails, dispersed camping, paid camping, several alpine lakes to hike to. So it's really easy to get secluded in Vail, no matter what you like to do.
Now, you talked about the extremely high cost of living, similar to Summit County, but actually on another level, if you can believe that. I guess talk to me a little bit about housing costs. Like, what's the average price for a house? If you know about rentals at all, what's like the average rent for like a condo here in Vail Village? Maybe taxes, HOA fees, and things you can expect like with those fees. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I'll start with a positive. Our taxes in Colorado are quite low, so that's good. HOA for a condo can be pretty high because it's going to be, you know, set it and forget it. They're going to cover your snow, your everything on the exterior, your landscaping, your parking usually. So that will be higher, but it comes with a lot. The average home price really varies. I think $2 million is what we're looking around for town of Vail. So that's West Vail, East Vail, Vail Village. If we're looking at our whole county, which would extend to where I live, Eagle Vail, Avon, Beaver Creek, Eagle, the average home price is about 1.5. If you want something in Vail Village that's single family, 15 to 20 if you're lucky and want to do a remodel. So We have a wide variety of inventory, but I just saw a condo listed in Lion's Head that was a 1-bedroom, I believe, for like 1.2. And that was slope side. So there are, all varies of inventory you can get for different price points. But generally, I think something that's going to be 2-bedroom, condo, heart of Vail Village, in the 2 range, depending on when and where.
And what's life like in the Vail Village? Just briefly, like in the Vail Village compared to Vail proper, compared to like down in Eagle Vale, if you have like a house that's more set back into the mountains, I guess, what's the difference and what's the pros and cons of like somebody living here in Vail Village as opposed to like down in the valley?
Yeah, good question. Vail Village is going to be your easiest lifestyle choice. So the streets are heated. You don't have to shovel anything. You literally walk out of your front door and there's coffee, there's restaurants, the slopes are right there. So that is truly, if you want to be as close and convenient as possible to the slopes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Is there any cons to being that close to the slopes? I would imagine tourism.
Yeah, I would say cons would be, if you're living here full time, Vail Village probably isn't the best choice because there isn't a huge sense of community of people who are living in Vail Village. I mean, you have some, but it's not super common. And then it's going to get busy, but the convenience is unbeatable. If you're a little down valley, so even 10 minutes away, Eagle Vale, Edwards, you're going to have more space in your home, more space in your yard. If not full time, at least part of the time, you're not going to have as much rentals in those neighborhoods, although they do exist.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
That's actually a great point. And, something that we talk about in Summit County a lot with the short-term rentals specifically. Do they allow short-term rentals in Vail Village, down in Eagle Vale? Like, how does that all work for somebody who's looking at it as an investment?
Yeah, great question. So our short-term rental laws are super lax, especially compared to Summit County. So you can pretty much short-term anything in Vail Village and Beaver Creek Resort. They know that's resort community. That's fine. Eagle Vale, you can pretty much short-term anything. Avon is the only one where we have a little bit more structure, but it's still really easy to. Typically 15% of the buildings that fall within the short-term rental zone can have short-term rental licenses.
Okay, so for those of you who are looking in Breckenridge and looking for an investment and kind of limited, obviously in Summit County, Vail is going to be a great option. Okay, so one of the other pros that you briefly mentioned was the community aspect, not necessarily in Vail Village, but if you're down the valley in Eagle Vale, it seems like there's a community that at least you've seemed to find.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, even West Vail, East Vail, Eagle Vale, there is such good community in our valley, which people might not always expect. Vail proper has about 5,000 people. Our county has 50,000 full-timers, so it's not huge, but there are so many different events. So for example, there's group bike rides, there's group ski events, there's a Vail over 50 club, there's free concerts pretty much every night of the week in summer. So there are just so many things that bring people together in our valley. And we all recognize that it's a little bit hard to live here, and people really look out for each other here, which is really fantastic.
Well, that's awesome. So we'll say like caveat, Danielle and I are clearly younger, and most of our clientele on the channel, they're over 50. So I kind of want to speak to them. And specifically, I've had people ask me about when I come to Summit County, what is the retirement community like? I'm in my 50s, I'm in my 60s, and I just want to make sure that I can have a group of people that I can do my favorite activities with. So you did mention there's like a Vail over 50 club. Is there other things that Vail has to offer for people specifically in that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a little bit outside of Vail, about 20 minutes outside of Vail is a neighborhood called Cordillera. And it's a golf community where I'm a member of and my in-laws live there. So this is a good example. They moved here 5 years ago. They're retired. They have made so many friends through this golf community. They golf together, they hike together, they play mahjong. So that's a great community. Arrowhead is a really great community that has Country Club of the Rockies. There's Vail Golf Course. So if you're a golfer, Vail has, I believe, 12 golf courses.
Oh, wow.
And with that, I think it's really easy to find community in that club atmosphere. If you're not a golfer, Vail still has ski clubs, the over 50 that I mentioned, they get together, they go hiking. So there are really great ways to meet people who are in that same stage of life. And there are a lot of retirees who spend their time in Vail.
Okay, so there's clearly a lot of opportunity for them. Is there any drawbacks to being over 50 or over 60 and living here in Summit County? For example, the altitude, average altitude of about 8,500 to 9,000 feet. Can get tougher as as you get older. Vail Valley is clearly lower than that. So is there any drawbacks to being in that age range here?
Well, altitude for sure. I think just overall winter conditions, you can slip on ice on the street. Luckily, Vail Village is completely heated, but that's not the entire county, of course. We have a great hospital, great healthcare. So that's actually been really great for people who need that facility. We have access to that. Our airport, Eagle Airport, is great and it's only getting better. So you can fly direct to over 10 cities, major cities in the US, which is great.
Okay, so this is going to be a smaller part of those of you who are looking to move to the mountains, but I guess talk about the economy here. What is the job market like? I mean, in Summit County, it's mainly tourism, right? So if you're in the hospitality industry or the real estate industry like ourselves or construction, you'll thrive. Or if you have some kind of niche service business, you can thrive, but there's really not like big tech or anything here. I assume it's similar here.
Yeah, it's definitely similar. We have Stedman, so we do get a lot of people in the medical field, which is great. Lots of surgeons, doctors, nurses. We see a lot of people moving to Vail for those jobs. Of course, hospitality, construction is a big one. But yeah, as far as tech, we don't have that many opportunities. But something I've noticed since COVID is we have a lot of people who are working remote. So some of my best friends are big in tech, but they work remote. So they don't need to be anywhere in particular. But it can be hard to get your start in your career in Vail. So I have also seen people leave the Valley, go to Denver, get some experience and come back with that because it can be a little challenging to build your career in Vail in those specific markets.
Yeah, so this is kind of more of the place where, like, if you're established or if you have the ability to work remote and you have a little bit of expendable income, you can live here, but getting started here, unfortunately, pretty tough.
Yeah, it's not impossible, but it's challenging.
One of the big cons about living in Summit County is that the winters are super long, especially being at 9,000 feet. So, I mean, as you guys know here, I imagine it's pretty similar living at this altitude. And so, I mean, if you're really craving that sunshine, like once October rolls around, and this summer we've kind of had an Indian summer, but sometimes it'll snow from October all the way till May and even into early June. Is it kind of similar here? I know it's lower altitude, but
yeah, we're a little lower in Vail. We're just above 8,000 feet, but our winters are certainly long. Like Anthony said, it can snow starting in October into May. Usually it stops around June, but we have seen a June storm here and there. But one thing I love about being here is if you drive 30 minutes west to Eagle, it's always about 10 degrees warmer than Vail. If you really want to go for a bike ride in March, you can just drive 30 minutes to Eagle. And typically you can do a road ride for sure. And a lot of times ride on trails.
So I think we've covered a lot of stuff in today's video. And I think it's a good start to kind of give our audience an idea of what Vail has to offer. So I guess from your perspective, based on everything you just told us, who do you think would be the best fit for Vail? And I guess who are the clients that you typically work with?
To live in Vail full time, I see that as someone who works remotely or they have a good opportunity in Vail, but typically they work remote. They probably live in a city and they're done. They want to be in Vail. They want to ski more. They want more of that outdoor lifestyle. So definitely someone who is an outdoor enthusiast and likes to ski and is ready to be in Vail and understands what that means. So, if you're coming from Kansas City, for example, you're going to probably downsize your home. You're not going to live in a huge house depending on your budget. I see a lot of the remote workers and retirees coming to Vail, but I would preface you need to love the outdoor lifestyle because
the winter.
We have a lot of great restaurants. We have great art events, shows, Broadway plays, but not to the level of a city.
I think honestly in some cases might be a pro. I feel like when you go to these big cities to see these experiences, like they do this all the time. It's just like second nature for them. So it doesn't really feel special. Where you come into Vail or Summit County and get these small town experiences, you feel like those performers are putting on almost a better show because they care more, and plus they're surrounded by the beauty of where we live. So it almost just feels a little bit better than if you were to have that same experience. So there you guys have it. I think that's going to give you basically what you need to know more or less about living in Vail, I'm gonna plug Danielle's information into the description below and into the first pinned comment, so you can reach out to her or you can reach out to me and I can connect you with her. Do you have some kind of like relocation guide or buyer's guide or something that you can share?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I have a Move into Vail guide that is super high level, but talks about a few neighborhoods, living here, my favorite restaurants, things like that. So I always recommend start there and then make an appointment and we can really get down to what works best for you.
Okay, awesome. And by the way, guys, I'm gonna put her Instagram in there as well. She absolutely kills it on social media. She's fantastic. I think that's one of the best ways to stay in touch with her and get updated about all the things that are happening here in Vail. So thank you, Danielle.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Okay, see you guys next week.